Success is not something that happens overnight, and it is not reserved for a specific type of person. It is the result of small, repeated actions that shape who you become over time. And if there are 10 habits that can truly transform a person's life, they all begin with the understanding that change starts internally before it appears externally. The first habit is waking up earlier, not simply to join the so-called 5 a.m. club, but to create space before the world demands your attention, because the early hours of the morning carry a unique silence that allows clarity, planning, and intentional thinking. And when you begin your day calmly instead of rushing, you set a tone of control rather than chaos. The second habit is avoiding your phone during the first moments of the day, because immediately consuming notifications, news, and social media places your mind in a reactive state instead of a proactive one. And when your attention is scattered before you even begin your own priorities, you unconsciously give away your focus to external noise. So protecting your mental space early on strengthens discipline and sharpens awareness. The third habit is setting 3 clear priorities for the day, not a long, overwhelming list that creates anxiety, but 3 meaningful tasks that truly move your life forward. Because progress is not about being busy, it is about being effective. And when you consistently complete a few important actions each day, momentum builds, confidence grows, and productivity becomes sustainable instead of exhausting. The fourth habit is daily physical movement, because the connection between the body and the mind is deeper than many realize. And even 20 minutes of walking, stretching, or simple exercise increases blood flow, enhances focus, reduces stress hormones, and builds self-respect. Since every time you choose movement over comfort, you reinforce an identity of strength and discipline. The fifth habit is reading or learning every single day, even if only for a short period, because knowledge compounds over time just like interest in a bank account. And 10 pages per day can turn into dozens of books per year, expanding perspective, challenging limiting beliefs, and exposing you to ideas that reshape your decisions. Learning keeps the mind flexible, creative, and adaptable in a world that constantly evolves. The sixth habit is consciously choosing your environment, both physically and digitally, because the people you spend time with and the content you consume shape your thoughts more than you might notice. Negativity, gossip, and constant comparison drain ambition, while growth-oriented conversations, educational content, and inspiring role models elevate standards and push you to expect more from yourself. And since human beings naturally adapt to their surroundings, upgrading your environment gradually upgrades your mindset. The seventh habit is eliminating the habit of complaining, which may seem small but has enormous psychological consequences, because complaining reinforces helplessness and trains the brain to focus on problems rather than solutions. Whereas adopting a solution-oriented mindset builds resilience and creativity. When faced with obstacles, asking, "What can I control?" or "What can I learn?" shifts power back into your hands and transforms challenges into opportunities for growth. The eighth habit is consistent self-investment, whether through developing skills, improving communication, practicing discipline, or gaining professional knowledge, because the modern world rewards value, and the more skills and competence you accumulate, the more opportunities naturally open. Investing in yourself increases confidence, independence, and long-term security, making you less dependent on circumstances and more capable of creating your own path. The ninth habit is practicing gratitude regularly, especially before sleep, because gratitude rewires the brain to notice abundance rather than scarcity. And when you intentionally reflect on what is going well, Even during difficult periods, you strengthen emotional stability and reduce stress. This does not mean ignoring problems, but rather balancing awareness so that challenges do not overshadow blessings. And over time, gratitude builds optimism that fuels consistent effort. The 10th and perhaps most powerful habit is choosing discipline over motivation, understanding that motivation fluctuates based on mood, environment, and energy levels. But discipline remains steady because it is built on commitment rather than emotion. Waiting to feel ready often leads to stagnation, whereas acting despite discomfort creates growth. And every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, even when it is inconvenient, you reinforce trust in your own character, which is one of the strongest foundations for long-term success. When these 10 habits work together, they create a powerful system. Waking early creates time. Avoiding distractions protects focus. Clear goals provide direction. Movement fuels energy. Learning expands vision. Environment shapes standards. Solution thinking builds resilience. Self-investment increases value. Gratitude stabilizes emotions, and discipline ensures consistency. And although none of these habits alone may seem dramatic, their combined effect over months and years can completely transform identity, productivity, and confidence. Change does not require a sudden dramatic life overhaul. It requires small, repeated actions that align with the person you want to become. And identity is formed by repetition, meaning that every choice either strengthens or weakens the version of yourself you are building. When you repeatedly choose growth over comfort, action over excuses, focus over distraction, and responsibility over blame, you gradually redesign your character from the inside out. It is also important to understand that transformation is not linear. There will be days of low energy, unexpected setbacks, and moments of doubt. But habits act as anchors during unstable periods, keeping you grounded when emotions fluctuate, and this stability is what separates temporary bursts of motivation from lasting progress. Furthermore, these habits encourage self-awareness because waking early allows reflection, limiting phone use increases mindfulness, setting goals clarifies priorities, exercise enhances mental clarity, reading challenges assumptions, positive environments encourage self-evaluation, avoiding complaints strengthens accountability, self-investment builds self-respect, gratitude deepens perspective, and discipline reinforces integrity. Together, they create not only external success, but internal growth. Over time, people who adopt such habits often notice subtle yet powerful changes: improved focus, reduced procrastination, better emotional regulation, stronger relationships, increased confidence, clearer decision-making, and a deeper sense of purpose. And while results may not appear instantly, the cumulative effect becomes undeniable. The key is starting small and remaining consistent rather than attempting perfection, because perfectionism can become another form of procrastination, whereas steady and perfect action builds real momentum. Even improving by 1% daily leads to remarkable transformation over a year. Ultimately, the path to a better life is less about dramatic inspiration and more about quiet, disciplined repetition. And anyone willing to commit to these 10 habits can begin reshaping their future immediately. Because the power to change lies not in external circumstances, but in daily choices. And when those choices consistently align with growth, clarity, and responsibility, life gradually evolves in ways that once seemed impossible.